The count has been delayed, but not denied. There's a reason we entrust the counting of votes to an independent body, and we have faith in their ability to get it right in the end. We have won a convincing victory in the popular vote, and I am pleased that we have won a clear majority of the seats.
Rather rumpled-looking Brian Gallant, New Brunswick's Liberal Party leader. He'll be the next premier of New Brunswick. Gallant won a majority on Monday's election, but it was a long night. The vote was the first provincial election to use electronic tabulators, that's a fancy word for counting machines, at polling stations. Let's just say it didn't go smoothly. A technical glitch ground results to a halt. The Conservatives demanded a recount be done by hand. Toronto Sun columnist Warren Kinsella joins me now from Toronto. Warren, I was saying this on Monday night with John Robson. We both live in Ottawa. We actually, as broadcasters, hate covering the municipal election because the results are known like that. They've been using these machines for 10 years or more. I know they use them in Toronto. What the heck happened in New Brunswick?
Don't know, and we got to find out because the Conservatives were right to call for a recount, and they're not the only party that has done so. In a situation where, Brian, and you and I have talked about this many times over the years, in a situation where we've got declining participation rates in our democracy, we got to do all that we can to make sure that people have faith in our democracy and the ways in which people can give democratic expression. So it was a disaster. You could see that all the party leaders, well, now two of them are gone, except for Gallant, were upset. They were unhappy, and a lot of citizens in New Brunswick should be too, because now they have doubt maybe about some of the outcomes.
And you know what? Maybe you recount every paper ballot by hand, because this was a paper ballot then fed into a machine, and the machine's supposed to count it. So you do the recount of the paper ballots, maybe it matches, maybe it's close but not exact, and you know that there's going to be a certain amount of error. But you got to listen to what John Poulos, the president of Dominion Voting, this is the private company that worked with Elections New Brunswick to meet the government specs. This is what he said. This all started because of a pressure to report within a quick timeline. To be clear, I'm referring to a general trend that you see in Canadian election commentary. That's one of the themes. We hear it all the time. Well, when you are reporting much slower than you did by a hand count vote, that doesn't speak well for your technology.
Yeah, and Sun News, I mean, we covered this election like nobody's business, and it is true. Results initially came in New Brunswick quickly. There was a whole rush in that first 30 minutes. And then, as you pointed out, it just kind of ground to a halt to the point where I saw the Conservatives, they were taking apart the room where they were going to have their party, hopefully the victory party for them, because everybody had to go home and nobody wanted to wait anymore. So
I think it was between 1 and 2 a.m. New Brunswick time when they finally released results.
Yeah, and that's just not how you do things. I was disappointed Dominic LeBlanc said, we don't need a recount, let's have faith. I'll bet you if it had gone the other way, they'd be saying something quite different.
And this is the thing. Everyone that's excited about this victory and says you don't need a recount, how did you feel about Gore versus Bush in Florida? This is where technology, I think technology is okay, but you have to have a backup paper system. And this is part of my problem with what New Brunswick did. Yes, they had paper ballots, but listen to Quinn. He's the chief electoral officer in New Brunswick, just saying, well, we can't recount those paper ballots. Well, what's the point of having them if you can't recount them? Roll tape.
It's only possible by order of a court of Queen's Bench judge, and that can be done within 4 days of this Friday. And only the judge can do a recount. It's impossible for anybody at Elections New Brunswick to start opening ballot boxes and do a manual recount.
So why is the system set up? It seems like a bizarre system. You've got the paper ballots. That's supposed to be your redundancy. There's questions about your counting system. There was talk, the consortium, all the broadcasters got together. We have a consortium to get these results. The consortium was told that there were corrupt data chips in some of the tabulators. That right there should be a red flag and say, we have to do this.
For sure, because if you go to a system that's completely virtual, as any of us knows who uses a computer and has ordered something online or done their homework or what have you, things disappear. Mm-hmm. So as you've been pointing out, you need a backup. You need a tangible backup, and that is what a ballot provides you with. And what he was referring to was interesting. He's saying, well, the judicial recount needs to be of balance. And it's like, yeah, that is true. That's what happened in Florida in 2000. We need that record of people's democratic participation. And if we don't, if we just have these tabulators that, you know, are virtual, well then, you know, the system can be abused.
So what do you think of Elections Canada calling a little while ago? They wanted online voting. Mark Mayrand sent a team down there to watch this. Other provinces did the same. I think this is a warning sign for people wanting to say, let's make voting like, you know, the equivalent of liking your friend's picture on Facebook.
Yeah, it would be such a huge mistake. All of us know, as I've said, the internet makes mistakes. Stuff goes wrong, right? And it's not like having a record of an exchange, whether it's commercial or personal or in this case, electoral. You need to have that so that people have faith in the process. And it is critically important here because increasingly people don't have faith in democratic institutions and the way they function. So, you know, Mr. Quinn and the federal elections people, they need to seriously think. I know they want to facilitate people participating, but they need to also facilitate the rest of us having confidence in the outcome. And in New Brunswick, there is now doubt that shouldn't exist.
And I think Brian Gallant should join the call for a count of every paper ballot, take that doubt away. He's likely still going to win and then can spend the next 4 years.
It may increase his majority.
It could.
You know? But boy, he's a lucky guy because for a lot of the night, you know, that interview he gave on CBC that you and I have talked about, boy, oh boy, he paid a price for that.
All right, we'll put it online. We'll let people talk about this. Warren, great talking to you.